In this video, I want to give a bit of a roundup on some Fallout 76 news, something I've never done on the channel before, but trying something new. We have quite a bit to go over, quite a bit that has been data mined from yesterday's pretty big patch for Fallout 76. It addressed a lot, it didn't address some core things, and we'll go over each of those. But a lot has been data mined from the files of that patch, giving us a look and insight into the next couple of weeks of content, and even potentially a few things a bit further out. If you missed my full video on the update and what exactly it changed, I will have it linked in the eye. It was the first update Fallout 76 saw since Wastelanders, so it was quite significant. Outside of that, we have a few other things, some responses and tweets from Bethesda that I want to go over that also were fairly impactful. If you guys enjoy the content, you can leave a like or subscribe, but firstly, taking another look at Fallout 76, I want to go over some of the data mined information that is coming around future events and other content for this game. One of the big new ones is around the Treasure Hunter event, which starts tomorrow. I talked about this yesterday, but to just briefly go over what exactly it's doing. Starting tomorrow in the Ash Heap region, and from tomorrow until Monday, these Treasure Hunter mole miners will spawn, and when you kill them, they'll have a chance of dropping one of 3 mole miner pails, which when you open them, will actually have a variety of rewards. And you could also buy the pails from vendors and craft them into proper ones. There's 3 tiers, the higher the tier, the more expensive, but also the better rewards. A document on what exactly all these pails drop and the likelihood of that has been posted online in a nice Excel spreadsheet. I'll have it linked down below. It's a great resource. It shows the rating for all the different pails, what level you have to be for some of the drops to have a chance at dropping. And something important to note, on certain things, the crafted pail has a better chance of dropping an item than its equivalent naturally found pail. So for example, one very sought after reward from this that you can't get otherwise until this event is the Marine Armor Helmet. The plan to get the Marine Armor Helmet is higher on the crafted ornate mole miner pail than the ornate mole miner pail that the mole miners themselves will drop. But something that's a bit surprising to me, you'll also find there are quite a few new cosmetics that can drop from this. You have a lot of the legacy old stuff like mounted head plans, you can potentially earn caps or script, as well as many other rare plans similar to the holiday event we had in the past, but also 8 new items if you include the Marine Armor Helmet plan. There are 2 new outfits as well as headwear for them. The Insurgent outfit, which does look pretty cool, more of a modern military theme that we've been seeing with Fallout 76 recently. The Treasure Hunter outfit, which is pretty fitting for this event overall, but another one that is pretty good looking. You get the Radstag hunting knife plan, which just seems like it's going to be a fairly simple weapon skin. The Safari Croc Colossus backpack, which I feel like there was a lot of cool things they could have done with this, and it didn't deliver for me. And also the Circus Cage trailer, which is pretty unique. I don't have the fully textured version, but you get a pretty good idea. And that one will be a pretty large camp object. And overall, I think this is going to be a really cool new addition to Fallout 76. It provides you with access to quite a bit in the way of new content, and those outfits in particular I really like, but even further a way to get a lot of that legacy rare content. Although one important disclaimer around this, it seems like these legendary mole miners will only spawn on like traditional mole miner spawn spots, not scripted ones. So if you're doing an event that spawns mole miners like Uranium Fever, like Defense of a certain settlement, it doesn't seem like those events will have a chance at spawning one of these guys, but rather if you're in a mine where mole miners normally spawn, then there's a chance it will spawn, but again, only in the Ash Heap region. But then in a similar, but at the same time different vein, we have updated Fosnot, which is coming to Fallout 76 this Monday. Technically on the roadmap, it doesn't have an end date, but I'm pretty sure it's only going to be 1 week like it was last year. The Fosnot parade itself, large in part, will be the same as last year based on the data mines, except this year you can actually nuke it, and it will actually buff the enemy, so that's pretty cool. But considering at most we've only played 7 days of this one, it's not like having the same content recycled is that bad. What is pretty cool is the rewards are getting quite a bit of a change, and actually some interesting ones. So similar to last year's Fosnot, depending on how many of the robots during the parade you keep alive, you'll get better rewards. And I'll dive into that somewhat, but firstly, let's look at what's new. A Raven mask, which looks pretty cool, actually one of the more unique looking of the masks. A new Deathclaw mask will be making an appearance, although this one is not exactly what you'll get, and I'll touch on that more in a moment. The Crazy Guy mask will be one of the available options, and then finally a new power armor based mask, which for some reason right now is already showing up as an optional craftable. I don't know if that's Bethesda's way of teasing things or if it's just an accident. With this game you really can never tell. But that's actually not all. Even outside of that, there are a couple of new other items you could earn from this. either the Megasloth pelt head or the Megasloth mounted head. The mounted head's been in the game, it was in the holiday event in the past, but something interesting with the pelt rug, we actually got this as a microtransaction, but it was pink, where now this one is just the traditional Megasloth color. And it seems like while completing Fosnot, you'll get one or the other of those two. But then you could also get the Beerstein display case or the Fosnot souvenir Beerstein. The Beerstein display case seemed odd to me at first, but it seems like this is going to be one of those unique rewards Bethesda is pushing. We actually saw it as one of the teases for seasons. While playing the event and completing it, you'll typically get either the plan for one or the other, but if you actually learn that plan, it'll stop dropping. So if you earn the Beerstein display case plan and then immediately learn it for yourself, that's the only one you'll really be able to get on that character from that event. You could trade them, but that's it. But if you don't learn it, seemingly you could continue to stack them. So it might be a good idea to not learn these two particular plans until the event finishes, as in it expires after 1 week. And then outside of that, all of last year's masks are making a return, so you can still earn them by completing the event. They're just intermingled into the drop pool. The Old Man Winter mask still being rare, last year's rare mask now being uncommon, and then finally, the common masks are common yet again. And those old masks have a significantly higher drop rate. It'll take too long to go into all of that because it depends on how many robots you keep alive. If you keep all 5 alive, the drop rates are the best. But if you do keep all 5 alive, those uncommon masks have a 75% drop chance compared to last year it was under 1%. So that's a huge upgrade. And outside of that, this will also award 2 treasury notes, a chance of a legendary item, and it could be any legendary item that the legendary purveyor can give you. So all around it seems like it's going to be good fun. New rewards, a fun, wholesome event in general if it is anything like last year. Although, one of the strange parts that I found with this is, those masks I showed you earlier as examples aren't actually the masks you're going to get. Instead, what those are masks on the Atomic Shop. So this year, what Bethesda is doing is offering colored skins of the Fosnot mask. So the Fosnot mask you could earn for the Raven in-game will be this, but the one you could buy off the Atomic Shop will be this. And I find this odd because it doesn't seem like this is going to be a skin for this other one. They're two totally separate items. So if you don't want to do Fosnot and you just want to buy this mask, you could do that, and obviously they're very similar, just slightly different colors. And this applies to a few of the masks. The Atomic Shop also does get a unique one, so that does stand out from the pack, but overall to me it just seemed odd how literally it was the exact same mask, just in a different color as a microtransaction, which almost disincentivizes the rarity of some of those masks because almost anyone could get it then. It doesn't feel as special as last year's, where there were some separate Atomic Shop ones, but also those only earnable in-game ones that just made them feel kind of cool. But at the end of the day, it's really not that big of a deal. I'm still really excited for this event, and it is just a fun one. Although outside of that, another new item that was data-mined is actually the Deep Cave Hunter outfit. It's not totally clear what this will be used for, but I wanted to highlight it because I think it looks really cool. It will easily be one of the most appealing armors in the game, and I'm going to suspect, based off the naming, it'll have something to do with the Wendigo Colossus event, that with a colossal problem. We know also from Datamines that will take place in a cave. We have a Deep Cave Hunter outfit, so those dots naturally connect themselves. Although outside of that, there were some other cosmetic Datamines for the Atomic Shop, some Fosnot themed microtransactions, which are pretty cool. There's going to be a new Collectron with that. Even further, it looks like we're getting another Mothman bundle, or at least Mothman set. And this backpack is going to earn Bethesda a lot of money. I can already see it. The Enclave paint that was data mined a while ago got some updates, so it's certainly looking like this will be a future Atomic Shop skin, and perhaps coming out at some point in the near future. Also, this odd lunchbox-based GIF has been passed around in some of the communities following the most recent update. It's not totally clear where it originated from, seemingly from the files of the game, or someone painstakingly remade that. And although we don't know much, obviously there's been a lot of fears around lunchboxes in the past, and the only thing I could offer on this is the lunchboxes themselves, the content I covered in the past, haven't seen updates in literally a year. So if this is related to those loot box-esque lunchboxes, either it's totally different and we don't have access to it in the build of the game right now, or this too perhaps is really old and people just now found it. But also, there are some changes around events in the game. Nothing you'll really see on the server side or in-game right now, but in the past, Bethesda did mention how they wanted to bring an overhaul to public events, basically the Wave 2. Public events was the first one, but then after that, there'd be a second wave, including some very sought-after features like, even if you don't get a hit on a legendary, you could still earn the legendary item, and rewarding participation during events so people don't just AFK. Some of the changes we saw to events were things along the lines of of how events will be represented, the difficulty mode, the type of content they are, and it seems like there'll be some kind of new HUD or display around events, but it does get me hopeful that Bethesda hasn't forgotten about this Event Wave 2 update, even though we didn't see it in the roadmap and haven't heard about it for months. Although something else I wanted to talk about in this video was some of the undocumented changes we saw with the recent update, as there were a good chunk, and several seem like they may be unintended or users are noticing them. There's this weird thing where on the Atomic Shop they added this new free Red Rocket poster, but it was already available for free in game. It's something you could learn in game just by natural gameplay. It's not really a big deal, just kind of odd how they did that, so now it's double free. In the past, the Pharma card, which allows you to create 2 of a chem while crafting them, applied to the holiday gifts, but they just recently patched that out. So while crafting holiday gifts, no longer will it give you 2, and this is likely because they are making that change for the pals, since they have functioned so similarly to the holiday gifts, which it will also now not work on the pals, or at least that's what I'm assuming is going to happen. They added a chance for the Scorchbeast Queen mounted head to drop from killing the Scorchbeast Queen. It has roughly a 20% chance of dropping by taking down the queen, but this is another one that is unique in that it'll only drop if you don't know the plan. So if you learn it, then it will stop dropping. You'll have a 0% chance again. This has been one of the rarer of these plans, so if you see it being sold by someone for an astronomical price, just note it probably isn't worth that much and the prices are about to go down. One odd thing people are noticing with the recent update was suddenly when logging in after the update, they were over camp budget, or there are some changes with camp budget making it smaller. It seems like what actually happened was the cost of certain foundation pieces were doubled on accident. Bethesda has responded that they're looking into it, but it does again seem like this is unintentional and not them actually shrinking the camp budget, which technically they didn't do, they just increased the budget requirement for some items. In a similar vein, people logged in started to realize that they had 0 of the collectible items, that being things like gold bullions, treasury notes, script. It seems like this is just a visual glitch that popped up after the update. Your gold bullions weren't actually all removed and you could still spend them at vendors, and sometimes server hopping or just logging in again does fix this. With the most recent update, Bethesda unintentionally locked the Fosnaut balloon plan. This was one of the items you could get from last year's Fosnaut, but now you can't build it at all for some reason. But then we actually have a fairly large response from Bethesda around seasons coming to Fallout 76. If you remember, almost a week ago now, Bethesda announced seasons as a battle pass-esque thing. You could work to it for free, earning ranks and unlocking a variety of items, or alternatively, you could pay 150 atoms to rank up once, roughly $1.50. But the wording on this was obscure. It described how the inaugural season would be free with a lot of emphasis, making it seem like subsequent seasons may not be free. Well, today Bethesda did correct that. From the official Bethesda Game Studios Twitter account, to clarify, our seasons in Fallout 76 are going to be free for all players. We may add extra Fallout First bonus rewards in the future, but want to focus on getting Season 1 in game first and seeing your thoughts. Sorry for confusion on this. And I think that's good. I think seasons overall will earn Bethesda a ton of money. If you want to hear my full thoughts, I talk about it in this video, but I still think this is odd. I've seen a lot of people just writing it off as being dumb, blown out of proportion, and maybe, but I feel like this whole scenario is indicative of something. The line itself in the article in the Inside the Vault may have just been worded poorly, bad copy. What I find far more interesting is how it took Bethesda 6 days to respond to this. One of the biggest indicators to me was how after 24 hours, they posted no responses. And it wasn't like it was into the weekend, it posted the article Thursday morning and then Friday night, there was nothing. Why did it take 6 days for this response to get posted? There were several videos made on the topic, probably 1 million plus views around this particular aspect of seasons. And obviously Bethesda viewed it as a pretty big deal considering they talked about it on the official Bethesda Game Studios Twitter account, which is pretty high profile compared to something like a community manager response on one random Reddit post. So although I'm very happy to hear that future seasons will be free, and if I was betting, I would have suspected as much, I'm still left very curious as to how that took 6 days. It seems like they definitely were aware of it publicly, so internally were they undecided? Did some of the backlash around the hypothetical of future paid seasons make it so they decided against it? Did they have to go up the chain of command to get this answer? But even still, 6 days seems like a while, even though it did include a weekend. So overall, I don't know, it just seemed like a very odd situation to me and indicative of something I'm just not quite sure what yet. Perhaps Bethesda has a ton of red tape internally, and that's why some patches or some of their decisions are so odd or questionable. Although the other part about this that is interesting are the extra Fallout First bonus rewards. And what I assume that means is if you have Fallout First and you complete a season or progress a season, you'll get a little bit more than what the regular players will get. And that could actually be fairly impactful. Seasons award things like gold bullions, caps, in-game items, but what may be more likely is if you have Fallout First, just as you get that final bundle, you'll get a couple of extra things from the final bundle. Although a big discussion with Fallout 76 overall is where some of the other Fallout First features are. We really haven't seen a major feature addition to Fallout First in a very long time. And this is particularly odd because on release with Fallout First, they did mention a wide variety of things that would probably come to it in the future. Permanent workshops on private worlds, expanding camp budget on private worlds. On the initial teaser for this, it describes how you'll get discounts on the Atomic Shop, but it seems like that was actually removed from the official page. And for me, I was really surprised you didn't see anything with Wastelanders. The game has a subscription service. You would think with the big new update, an influx of new players, you would add additional incentives to sign up then and there for the subscription service. Overall, I'm not inherently unhappy about this, it just is curious how they haven't really provided additional value, despite when it came out, making it seem like there would be updates or quite a few new additions to this. Fallout First has been around for 6 months, and I would have never guessed that there's still only one outfit that comes with it. But either way, it will be interesting to see how this intertwines with the season system, and perhaps we'll see quite a bit of new content via that route. Although at least right now, it doesn't even see definitive, so I can't imagine it'll be a major presence in Season 1. Although I wouldn't be shocked with the announcement of that. In tomorrow's Inside the Vault article, we perhaps get a deeper dive into Seasons, as well as a release date. All we know thus far is Seasons is coming with Update 20. And on the topic of Update 20, the project lead of Fallout 76 just recently mentioned it's coming sooner than we think. So perhaps it is only a couple of weeks away, not a full 5 weeks like Wastelanders to Update 19. But on that topic, what can we expect from Update 20 for Fallout 76? Following the release of Patch 19 and some stuff just not getting patched out, Bethesda did respond to a lot of threads and comments with inquiries around that. There are plans to add mods to the Secret Service Under Armour. Currently it lacks things like Pocketed, which is quite a bit of a bummer when compared to other Under Armours. Some of the ward bugs are apparently going to be addressed, or at the very least looked into. Weeds and other miscellaneous foliage popping through the ground of your camp will hopefully be addressed in a future update, as well as the fast travel bug, which is still here, but hopefully getting fixed at some point, because that one is actually quite infuriating. It basically seems like if you have a bloodied build, which is probably the most popular build type, the game sometimes thinks that because you have such low health and so much radiation, you will take radiation damage and it'll cancel fast travel. Or at least that's the theory as to how it happens. Although some other bugs that we haven't actually seen a response to or haven't been fixed, some of the overarching VATS bugs, where points in VATS just items are not hitting or not working properly. A Naked Samuel was recently added with the update, so although not currently addressed, I wouldn't be shocked if that is revised in a future patch or hotfix. Or the broken nuclear winter wheel, which is actually really frustrating. So those are some things that perhaps will get addressed in a future update, but large in part, that's going to wrap it up for this one. Tomorrow I'm going to have a full video going over the treasure hunters itself, as well as whatever we learn in the Inside the Vault. I don't know, I feel like it's either going to be a deep dive on seasons like they promised, which could be happening given the tweet we saw today. Perhaps they were finalizing the details on seasons in preparation for this Inside the Vault, and that's why we got this tweet. Or it might just be another explanation of the treasure hunters like they gave in the patch notes. But either way, until next time, I thank you all again for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope to see you all later.